Hey, it's Danny from projectmanaverse.com, and in this video I'm going to talk about project manager imposter syndrome and how to deal with it. So first of all, what is imposter syndrome? Imposter syndrome is basically that feeling of being a fraud in your job, and I think it's particularly relevant to project management because a lot of us project managers didn't start off with the intention to be project managers. We are what's called the accidental project managers. We kind of stumbled into a project manager role one day, and because of that we kind of feel like we're not really qualified to be project managers, or we're not real project managers, and we get that sense of imposter syndrome. So I think it's relevant to the project manager role. Before I get started into how to deal with the imposter syndrome, I want to read a bit more of a formal definition of it. So I'll just read it out to you now. So I've got here, it is a psychological pattern in which an individual doubts their skills, talents, or accomplishments and has a persistent internalized fear of being exposed as a fraud. Despite external evidence of their competence, those experiencing this phenomenon remain convinced that they are frauds and do not deserve all they have achieved. Individuals with imposterism incorrectly attribute their success to luck or interpret it as a result of deceiving others into thinking that they are more intelligent than they perceive themselves to be. So I think that's quite a nice description of what imposter syndrome is. And I will say that I used to have imposter syndrome when I first became a project manager. Lasted for quite a few years, but I do remember, perhaps not the exact day when I realized I wasn't an imposter anymore, but I certainly remember the period of my career, and I was managing 3 projects at the time. I was really energized, I was passionate, I was coming into work every day, and felt like I was on fire. I was just all over the projects, I was smashing them, delivering them well, and I kept getting unsolicited feedback from stakeholders in the business saying what a great job I was doing. And unsolicited is when you don't ask for the feedback. They're just sending your boss, or they sent my boss feedback saying that this guy's got his act together and he's performing really well. And I just remembered, okay, I get this project manager thing. It all clicked, everything clicked after a few years, and I really understood the principles and the core ingredients to make a successful project happen. So that's what it's all about. So you're gonna have it, and how do you deal with imposter syndrome? Because it can put you off, it can limit your performance, it can handicap your capabilities, and it can prevent you from doing things or taking some brave choices if you were very experienced and you didn't have any fears of being a fraud. So it can be a blocker, and you don't want it to be a blocker. You want it to be a driver to accelerate you to be better, not to keep you in a small circle in a comfort zone, and being afraid to expand and improve your skills and go out and establish yourself as a strong project manager. So I've jotted down a few strategies to help you overcome imposter syndrome if you have it. The first one is accept it as normal, because everyone has this. We all have to start somewhere. We can't become expert project managers from day one. And in a sense, you are a fraud when you first start, because you're not really a well-established, experienced project manager. You're just learning the role, and that's normal. We've got to start somewhere. So the first thing is to realize that it's normal to feel this way, and just to accept it, and to realize that with time, as long as you're striving to get better and you're getting feedback, it will eventually go away. So just have that hope and that belief that it's going to go at some point, and it's a perfectly normal feeling to be experiencing. So that's tip number 1. Number 2 is remember the facts. Remember these 2 facts. Number 1, someone believed in you to give you the shot at being a project manager. So you got the job. So someone out there believes that you can do it. So trust in that. They've interviewed you, or they know you from a previous role, and they've given you the shot. So they know that you're not going to be an expert project manager from day one, but they've seen something in you. They've seen you have potential, and they know that. So just remember that. And also remember that you're still there. You still got the job. No one has fired you yet. No one's put you on a performance plan. So you must be doing something right. So just remember those 2 facts, okay? If someone was telling you that you are terrible, and it was an important person like your boss, and you were they were giving you an action plan to improve your performance and you weren't delivering results, then that's a different story. But if no one's saying anything, it's all in your mind, then you've got to remember those two facts. Number one, someone gave you the job, someone does believe in you, and you haven't been fired yet. Okay, tip number 3 is collect and regularly review positive feedback. So you should naturally get some feedback now and then from some stakeholders on your project and in the business, hopefully saying that you've done something well. And what you want to do is keep a journal of that, or just keep a record of it, put it all in one place. And if you're not getting any, maybe go out to a few people and ask for some feedback, and then get all the positive stuff and put it into one folder or one email folder, or whatever, however you want to store it. And then just review that regularly, because it does give you a bit of a boost when you read some positive feedback. You think, oh yeah, I'm actually not too bad. I used to do this when I got into my first major project manager role. I actually moved to different cities. I was given this massive stretch project, big budget, and I'd collected a lot of positive feedback from my previous role, which was not strictly a lead project manager role, but it was all to do with projects. And I had quite a little kind of portfolio of feedback, and it was really, really good feedback. And what I'd do every morning is I'd read through that feedback. It'd take me 5-10 minutes, but after going through it, I'd feel quite pumped to think, yeah, I can do this. I've got the skills to do this. All these people gave me this great feedback, and I believe in myself. So just do that, get some positive feedback and keep reviewing it as a little boost for yourself. The next tip is keep a success journal, and I mean like a project success journal. Maybe fill out an entry once a week, reflect back on the week that's just passed and think, right, what did we do well? What did I do well? And it can be things like getting a milestone achieved that was a bit tricky, but you got it done and delivered something on time. It could be that you negotiated something, or you influenced a stakeholder to do a certain thing, or to take a certain risk, or make a decision, or something like that. Any small wins you can think of, just put them in your success journal. And similar thing, just keep reviewing that success journal and going through it every week, and eventually those successes will build up and you think, actually, I'm doing all right here. I've actually got quite a good track record of small wins and successes, so I must be on the right path. So that will again build up your confidence and build up the positive belief in yourself that you need to be able to get rid of that imposter syndrome. Okay, the next one is to get a mentor, because first of all, what's a mentor? A mentor is basically someone who can guide you, give you advice. It's going to be someone that's already doing the job. It doesn't have to, or they don't have to be doing your job, but ideally you want another project manager, or even better, a program manager, someone more senior than you, someone more advanced on your career path that can give you impartial feedback. So they don't have a stake in the project you're doing. They're not really bothered either way, which way it goes, but obviously they're concerned about you because they're your mentor. But you can openly talk about your project, and you can be completely honest about the things you are suffering with, not suffering, but the things you're struggling with, things you're worried about, and you can tell them how the project is going, where you've got red milestones or where you've got big issues, and they can honestly give you some feedback and tell you if they think you're on the right track, if you're doing well, or if you could do certain things better. But they're not there to bash you for no reason. They will be honest. So if they think you're doing a good job, they've got no reason to lie about that. And if they think you should be doing something better, they'll tell you that as well. But they can give you an objective, impartial review of your performance. So if they think you're doing all right, then you've got nothing to worry about. Okay, it will really help you with that reassurance. Okay, the last tip is basically keep going, because imposter syndrome will fade with time, and it will only fade with experience. The more projects you deliver, the more competent you become, and the more you start to believe in yourself. And one day, eventually, it will just go and you realize, actually, yes, I am a project manager. I'm not a fraud anymore. I know what I'm doing. I'm competent, and you can give me any project, and I know how to go about delivering it and getting it done. So those are the tips. I'll just recap, and then we'll call it a day. So tip number 1 is accept it as normal, because imposter syndrome is a normal feeling, especially if you're new to project management. So just accept it and understand that eventually that will fade. So you've got some hope. You just have to keep going with it. Number 2 was remember the facts being that someone believed in you enough to give you that shot in the first place. And number 2, you've still got the job. No one's fired you yet, so you must be doing something right. Number 3, collect and regularly review positive feedback. So keep a little journal of good feedback. Number 4, keep a success journal of successes on your project, things that you've done well, little wins that you've collected along the way, like achieving key milestones or influencing stakeholders, or just getting some positive feedback from your team members in terms of things you're doing well. Next one is get a mentor. So get a mentor and you can openly talk about your project with them every week, and they can give you some honest feedback in terms of your performance and how they think you're doing on your project and how you might be able to improve areas and if you really have any problems or not. And then the last one is just keep going, because the more projects you deliver, the more experience you gain, the more confidence you gain, and the more you can get rid of that feeling of being an imposter. Okay, that's the video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this one. And until tomorrow, please take care.